Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is this super cute cardigan. So it is worked up using just a red heart super saver, and we have blocks that we're going to create. So there's 4 of them that we're going to make, the blocks, and we're going to put 2 together for our back panel and then 1 block for each side, sleeve, collar, and a bottom border. All right, let's talk about what we're going to need. Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to need for your cardigan. Now you're going to need the essentials, obviously, your needle, your scissors. You're going to need a tape measure, 6mm hook, and 4 skeins of any red heart super saver or any 4-weight yarn for that matter that you like. I used 4 of these and I have just a handful left in the 4th one. Now I want to talk about something real quick about this yarn before we move on. So I had a little bit of this on hand, right? And I thought, well, I'm going to go to Walmart and get some more of it. Well, by the time I had gone to Walmart to get more, I had already started on the cardigan and was a big chunk through it. Well, so I got more yarn, and I got home, and I got to noticing, I was like, whoa, there is a huge difference in the one that I had bought and the one that I was using. Well, the one that I was using was made in the USA, and the one that I had bought was made in Turkey. And the one that I had bought is super soft. You can kind of see how this one is a little shinier and a little fuzzier. Like this, I wish I would have made it out of this one. The reason being because this one is a little stiffer, and when I got my cardigan done, I actually took a steamer, like a jacket steamer, and steamed my whole cardigan, and it loosened up, and it, you know, had a beautiful drape like it would have if I would have used the softer one. I just wanted you guys to know that, you know, the one made in the USA is it's nice yarn. It's just it wasn't the best for clothing. I wish I would have used this one because it's so much softer, and it has I think it would have had a nicer drape on it. But anyhow, you're going to need 4 skeins of whichever 4-weight yarn you pick. Well, this one is Real Teal, and it has 364. So you're going to need about 1,500 yards. That comes out to 1,456 yards. And like I said, I had just a little bit left out of that last skein. Okay, so the last thing you're gonna need is a t-shirt. Now I want to show you guys why you're gonna need this t-shirt, and the best way I can show you is to just draw it. So I'm gonna draw a girl, or a person, I will say. Don't giggle because I know I can't draw, right? Okay, so we want our t-shirt to come over our hips and our butt and fit nicely over your hips and your butt. So once you get that t-shirt, drawing my t-shirt. Alright, so once you get your t-shirt on and make sure it fits over your butt nice, take your t-shirt off, and I want you to measure right across here. Alright? So let's say your shirt measures 30 inches. Okay? So we want an even number. So if your shirt measures 31 and a half inches, just go ahead and round it down to 30. And if it's 39 inches, let's say your shirt's 39 inches, just round it up to 40 inches, okay? So get you a good even number for your for the width of your shirt that goes right across your butt and your hips. And then what we're going to do is divide that by 2. So let's say my shirt's 30, I need to divide that by 2. That's 15. So 15 inches. So that's our magic number, 15 inches. All right, we are going to work the squares. At the beginning of the tutorial, I showed you the squares that we work our panels off of. Those squares, we're going to make all 4 of them to be the 15 inches. And then that is how we get the good size, good fitting to us size of cardigan. Okay? So, get your t-shirt that fits around your butt and your hips good. Get your 4 skeins of whichever color 4-weight yarn you choose. Get you a tape measure, needle, 6mm hook, a pair of scissors, and let's get started. Okay, to start the block for our cardigan, we're going to get a slip knot on our hook. And we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slip stitch back into that first chain to form a ring. See, there's our little ring. I'm going to tighten up my slip knot a little bit, and I'm going to be working over my tail. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to work 3 double crochet back into that ring. 1, 2, and 3. Still going over my tail. Now we chain 2, and that's our corner. 3 double crochet back into the ring. 1, get out of there, 2, and 3. Chain 2. So we need 4 chain 2 corners. We have 1, and we just did the second. So 3 doubles back into the ring. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. There's 1, 2, 3 chain 2s. 3 doubles back into the ring. And 3. Chain 2. I got a cat hair in there. And there is our 4th chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to slip stitch into the very first double that we worked. And now I am going to go ahead and pull up a loop, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to pull that tail tight, and it's going to close up that center ring. I'm going to go ahead and get a needle. I'm going to weave in my end, and one reason I prefer to do it now is because if we were to work, let's say 4, 5, 6 more rounds of this and then weaved in our end, it kind of distorts those stitches a little bit, and I don't want to do that. So if I go ahead and do it now, the base of our block is already done, right? So it's not going to change, so it's going to stay the way we made it. Whereas if we did a couple of those rows, then tightened it up and weaved in the ends, it distorts it just a tad. Not a lot, but enough to where I don't want to do that. All right, so go ahead and cut that. Okay, so there is round one of our block with our 4 chain 2 corners. Okay, so to move on to round 2, we are going to slip stitch into the next double loosely, don't do it real tight, and then slip stitch right into that chain space. Okay, now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work our corner stitch, which is 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles, all into this corner chain 2 space. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3, chain 2. I'm going to scooch that over, and 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. So there is our corner. And now we chain 1, and that's just our little spacer to jump us over to that next chain 2 space where we work our corner stitch again. So go ahead and work your corner, chain 1, come to the next corner. Work your corner stitches, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1, jump over to your last. And I'm going to go ahead and just stay with you for the next corner. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2, scooch, 3 double crochet back in there. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1 jumps us to the next corner to work our 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. All right, so go ahead and work your corner, chain 1, jump over to our last chain 2 space and work our corner, chain 1, and I'm going to meet you right before we slip stitch. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back and I made it around. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 corner spaces. I'm going to slip stitch to my first double. Now if you look, here is out, well, let me get my needle to show you guys. Here is our slip stitch, the little bar from our slip stitch right there. Here is our chain 1, and here is our first double. And that is where we are going to slip stitch, is into that first double. All right, so that is the end of row 2. So now we're going to move on to row 3, and row 3 is going to be the row we repeat for the width of our block. Now, if you remember at the beginning, I said that, you know, you take a t-shirt, get like on your butt area, the width, and then divide that in 2, and that's how big we're going to make one block. So then when you make 2 blocks, put them together, that should equal the width of the butt of your t-shirt. Like if it's, you got it, you know what I mean, right? All right, so here's row 3, and the row we're going to repeat. So we slip stitched to our first. Now we're going to slip stitch into the next double and the next double, and now we're going to slip stitch into that chain 2 space. Okay, chain 1, and we're going to work our corner, which stays the same throughout this pattern. 3 double, chain 2, 3 double. So work that right back into that chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. I'm going to scooch and 3 double crochet right back in there. 2 and 3. Give me some slack. All right. So now we are going to chain 1, sorry about that, guys. I had just realized I made a mistake. Row 3 is, or round 3 is not our repeat round for our block. It's row 4. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that until I was reading my notes. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so back to what we were at. All right, we worked our corner, chain 1, and we're going to work 4 double crochet into this chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, scooch it over, and 4. Now we chain 1, and we're back to our corner. So we work our corner stitches, 3 doubles, chain 2, scooch that, and 3 doubles. And 3. Chain 1, 4 doubles into that chain 1 space. 3, scooch, and 4. Chain 1, we're to our corner, and our corner is 3 doubles. chain 2, scooch, and 3 doubles, chain 1, 4 doubles in this chain 1 space, 1, 2, 3, scooch, and 4, chain 1, we're to our last corner, 3 doubles, chain 2, scooch it over, and 3 doubles, chain 1, 4 doubles into our chain 1 space, the last one, 2, 3, and 4. So that, I don't like that one. I'm gonna redo that one. I was fighting my yarn, my skein of yarn. All right, that's 3. One more is 4, chain 1, and to end round 3, we slip stitch to our very first double crochet right there. All right, now that is the end of round 3. So if I give this a little bit of a tug and see what we got. Okay, so now round 4, which is the round we repeat for the width of our block. So we will repeat this round 4 until we get the size that we need. All right, so we're going to slip stitch into the next 2, 1 and 2, slip stitch into your chain 2 space. All right, now we're to our corner, so we work our corner. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, I'm gonna scooch, and 3 doubles, and 3. All right, we chain 1, and now into our chain 1 space we work 2 doubles, 1 and 2, and now the pattern reads 1 double crochet into each double. So right now it's 4, right? But then after we work a couple rounds, this is going to go, it's going to increase every round, every round of our block is going to increase. So double crochet into each double, this portion is going to change every round. So right now it's only 4. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So double into each double, 2 doubles into your chain 2 space. I'm sorry, chain 1 space, not chain 2. Chain 1 and into our corner, work our corner stitches. 3 doubles, chain 2, move it over, and 3 doubles. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop and I'm going to show you what I meant. So see how it went from 4 to 2, 4, 6, 8. So now when we repeat the pattern, it's going to say work your corner stitches, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the chain 1, in the chain 1 space, 1 double into each double. See how it went up from 4? So that's what that means in the pattern when it says, you know, 1 double into each double. You're just double crocheting into this side set right here. 2 doubles into your chain 1 space, and then to the corner. All right, now back to what we were doing. Like I said, I just wanted to show you guys. We worked our corner, chain 1, 2 doubles into the chain 1 space, 1, 2, double into each double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2 doubles into your chain 1 space. Chain 1 and work your corner. 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. Oops, messed that up. Okay, I'm going to let you guys finish off this round, and I will meet you when we get to the beginning. Alright, I've made it around. Worked my 2 double into the chain space, 1 double in each, 2 double into the chain space, and don't forget that chain 1, and slip stitch to our first double crochet. Okay, now the most important part about this is not to forget your chain 1 after your corner and before your corner, because these chain 1s are what's going to set us up. I'll show you guys. What's going to set us up and build our round, our block bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Man, all kinds of cat hair. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat round 4, half of the width of, across your butt, right? So that way when we put our 2 blocks together, which I happen to have some of mine here, we're going to sew these together, and then we're going to add, oh, let me pull you guys out a little bit. So we're going to sew these blocks together up here, right? And this is going to set across our butt, and then we're going to put a little border on each side, and then this is that's going to be our back panel. So get your 2 squares made. Well, you're going to need 4 for your entire cardigan, so if you just want to go ahead and get your 4 made, and that is going to be the back of the back panel of our cardigan. So I'm going to go ahead and start row 4 with you guys again. We slip stitch to our first double. We're going to slip stitch to the next double, slip stitch to the next double, slip stitch to your chain 2 space, chain 1, work your corner, chain 1, 2 double crochet in your chain 1 space, 1 double into each double, 2 double into your chain 2 space, chain 1 space, I'm sorry, chain 1 space, chain 1, work your corner. And just repeat that and repeat that and repeat that. All right, now just keep in mind, you know, everybody's block's going to be a different width. All right, so get your guys' blocks done, come back, and we are going to start our back panel. Okay, I wanted to jump back on here real quick because I wanted to show you so you don't lose stitch count. Most of the time in my patterns on YouTube, stitch count's not a big deal, but on this one it kind of is. But I wanted to let you know, every round, our side, I'm going to say triangle right here. You see it? This triangle increases by 4. So 4, 8, 12, 4 times 4 is 16, 20, and so on by 4s. So, you know, if you're this far, and on this, let's say on this round, you count and you've got, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 16, this should be 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20. All right, let's say you've got 21. So then you know you can just pull out that one round and you're missing somewhere, missing a double crochet somewhere. Or you missed, like for instance, on this next row that I got going here, work your 2 into your chain 1 space, and let's say, you know, you accidentally skip this working into this double, because it is a little hard to see, you know, if you hold it like that. Let's say you accidentally went into that next double crochet, and you'd never notice that you skipped that first one until you pulled it apart a little bit. So watch that too, I guess, now that I brought that up. All right, get your guys' blocks done and come back. Okay, now that we got our blocks done, we are gonna take 2 of them and we're gonna sew up a little seam right there, okay? So what we're gonna do is pull out about 1.5 feet. We're gonna waste some of it, but that's all right. Of your yarn, thread that on a average size yarn needle. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my 2 blocks here and I'm gonna flip them right sides together. So the back of this one is up and the back of this one is down. And now what I'm gonna do, well, keep yours flipped. I want to explain something to you. Okay, so for the back panel of our cardigan, the base of it is going to be worked off of this block, these 2 blocks, right? So right here in the middle, on each block, we have 2 chains. Right here we have a chain. I'm not even on camera. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so the basis of our back panel is going to come across the back of these 2 blocks, right? So right here we have 2 chains, and on this one we have 2 chains. Well, on this corner right here we have 2 chains, and on this corner we have 2 chains. So what we're going to do, the side panel of this is going to come off of the side of this block and then up, right? So one of those chains is going to get used on the side, okay? Then we're going to start in this other chain to start the back panel. So we're going to work across this chain, right? Well, the same scenario is going to work for our corner right here. We're going to come across, and these 2 chains are going to get separated. So this chain is going to work for our back and forth coming up our panel, and so is the second chain on this block. So that means the remaining chain right here is going to be used to sew our block together. Does that make sense? Basically, the 2 chains right here, one's going to be used sewing the block together, the other one's going to be used to start our panel. Makes sense, right? Clear as mud. Okay, so back to my blocks laying on top of each other, right sides together. I am going to take my top right corner, and that's where I want to start because I'm going to sew it down. It doesn't matter. I mean, you guys can start at the bottom and sew up. It doesn't matter as long as you're sewing your block together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these apart. Okay. The top chain is going to go to our back panel. The side chain, I'm going to go through both loops. The back hump I want left out, and that's going to go to sewing our blocks together. So I'm going to come right over and I'm going to go through the top loops of the same chain. So come on, there. So if I look, I have a chain to the left of my needle on both squares, and that's what's going to be used at the top of our panel. Okay, so I'm just going to pull it right through. Leave a little bit, about that much showing. Now I'm going to hold them up, and I am through both of those chains. So now I'm just going to go, so like when I have these 2 blocks together, okay, there's 2 loops on the next double crochet and 2 loops on on that block, and then 2 loops on the next block. So if I push these together, I'm only going to go in 1 loop of each block. So what that's doing is pulling the 2 loops that I went under together and leaving the other 2 loops to the inside of my blocks, right? So same thing on the next. See, can you see the loop? Sorry about that, guys. I had to stop. Somebody was at the door. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we are sewing this shut using the back loops of each double. So if I hold my piece like this, the back loop is the loop that's facing me, okay? And on the other block, it's the loop of the stitch that's facing up. So just back and forth, in and out. I hope you guys understand that because I feel like I was kind of confusing. So I'm just going in both, coming from this side, and now in both, coming from this side. And actually, you guys could sew these together however you wanted to. I'm just doing it this way because I like this one, doing it this method. There's hundreds of different methods to sew blocks together, right? But I kind of prefer this one for certain things because I get a little bit farther and I will show you why. I like this way opposed to single crocheting, slip stitching, you know. All right, so if I flip this back over, see that nice seam it leaves up the middle? That's why I like this. I think that's clean and pretty looking. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish sewing this together, going in both sides one direction, in both sides back the other direction. Did I get that? Yeah. All right, I will be back shortly and we're gonna move on. Eek, mess that up. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm coming to the corner. I went through those double crochets, so I have one double and one chain left. One double and one chain. So come in this side, in there, and then this chain. I'm going to go through both loops of this chain just to keep it sturdy. One and, oop, I think I split that. Two. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and wrap around and do the exact same thing I just did through those chains. Don't pull it tight. I'm going to leave that loop, come through that loop, pull that tight, and then I'm just going to weave in this end wherever I can get it. Come down, I'm going to go through there. Bring it back. Sorry about that, guys. I bumped my camera. And snip. All right. So I'm going to have this as the bottom, and this is the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I did at the bottom there. Take my tail. It's already in and out those stitches, so I'm just going to do it one more time. The chain I'm at. I'm going to go through both, leaving that back loop. Go right back through there. Don't pull it tight so it leaves this little loop right there. Go through there. Now I'm going to pull it tight and then weave in this end. So I'm just going to go wherever I can get it in. Alright, so our two panels, or squares, sorry, not panels, are sewn together. So now, here comes the fun part. All we are going to do now is get our yarn, find your hook, because you set it somewhere and you don't remember where you set it. Alright, get a slip knot on our hook, make sure you got enough tail to weave in your end. And I'm gonna go right into my corner right here. And I'm gonna go in there with one double. So I attached with a slip stitch, chain one, and I'm gonna go right back into that chain space with a double. And I'm gonna work a double crochet into each double, one double into that chain one space, a double into each double, and then I will meet you guys at this corner, okay? So just double crochet per stitch. Double crochet into your chain one. Now don't forget, the top of your double, your next double, is right next to that chain space. Double into that double, and repeat that all the way across. And I will meet you at that connection where we sewed our two squares together. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I've double crocheted across, one double in my chain one space, a double into each of my doubles, and now we're to that remaining chain we left from when we sewed this block together. So I'm actually going to go into that chain. Just like we did when we were sewing, we went under both loops and left that back hump out. That's what I'm going to do. So there's that one, and now I'm going to come right across, and you can see the back hump right here, right there. Back hump right there. I'm going to go catch the first loop, catch the second loop, and work a double. Now that does leave a little bit of a space at the top, but if you look, it kind of follows the pattern with the corner stitches of our block. All right, so now we go right into those doubles. Double into that chain one, double into the next double, and straight across. I will meet you guys at the end of our block. It's nice and pretty, isn't it? That looks great. All right, we'll be back. Okay, so I'm coming to the end, and I came across something that I wanted to show you guys how to work past. So I've worked into my last double right there, and then there's my chain, and then right here is the slip stitch that I worked to end that round. So I'm working one double into that chain one space, and then I'm going to tug on this a little bit, and what that's going to do is going to pull out the top of that double crochet that I slip stitched to. Can you see it right there? So if I just tug on that a little bit, see where the slip stitch is to the top of that double? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go right in there and work a double. And then double crochet in my next. Double crochet into the next. And one double into that chain two space. Okay? So there is the first row of our panel. So now all we're going to do is just repeat double crochets back and forth, back and forth. So I'm going to chain one and turn. And I'm going to double crochet into the first and double crochet right along. And that is all we are going to do for this back panel. Oop, I forgot to go through here. All right. Anyway, so double crochet into each double all the way across, get to the end, double in your last, chain one, turn, double in your first, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and I will come back here and I'm going to tell you guys how many rows of double crochet I worked for my preference. It's really cute, that little diamond in the middle. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I've repeated the double crochet row 34 times. Well, 34 rows, I should say. So the row we worked together, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 34. Now, how I got the length that I liked was I just set this on the top of my shoulder, like the seam of a shirt, and I liked the length of it, you know, down my back and on my butt. And that is how I've got my 34 rows. Now you guys can work longer, shorter, whatever you want to do. I weaved in my ends, so now my back panel is done for now. And we're going to move on to our side panels. And all we're going to do is the exact same thing. We're going to lay our panel down with the right side facing up. Get a slip knot on our hook. Make sure you have enough tail to weave in your end. I've got my 2 chains. Here's a chain and there's our second chain. I'm going to go right into that second chain with a slip stitch, chain 1, double crochet right back in there, double crochet into each double, one double into that little chain space, double crochet right across for each stitch. I'll meet you down here. Okay, I'm coming up to that chain 1 space, so just one double in there, one double into the next doubles, and then I'm going to go right into that next chain space. All right, so that was row 1, chain 1, turn. I'm going to repeat that for the same number of rows that my back panel is. So if your back panel is 40 rows, you just double crochet your 2 side panels. We're going to do this for each of our side panel squares. 40 rows for your side. But since mine's 34, I'm going to work 34 rows of double crochet on both my panels. And I will come back as soon as I get those done. So you guys get yours done and then come back here. Okay guys, I'm back and I have got my 34 rows done on both of my blocks and my back piece here. Let me show you guys. So this is my back piece. Here's one of my front panels and I got those 34 rows done. And here's the second, oop, that's the back. Here's the second front panel and I got all those rows done. Now, I do want to let you guys know I did hit these blocks with just a little bit of steam from my iron just to get them to loosen up a bit because they kind of tend to want to crunch up. You don't have to do that. You can let it be. You know, whatever you decide, just please be careful and do not set the iron on your work. It will completely ruin it. Just keep it about, I don't know, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch hovered above your work. Hit the steam button, let that steam hit the stitches, kind of give it a little bit of a stretch like that, and you'll be fine. Like I said, you don't have to do that. I just wanted to loosen up these squares. Okay, so to move on, we are going to lay our back panel on a surface, on a flat surface. Now I want you guys to lay that down with the right side facing up. So all the double crochets on your blocks down here should be facing up. And then I want you to count up. Now if you did 34 like I did, I want you to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Count up 20 rows and mark that with a stitch marker. Now what this is going to be the beginning of our sleeve. So if your guys is different, or you did fewer or more rows, what I want you to do is take your panels. You don't have to do both, you can just do one. Take your back panel and your front panel and lay them row for row on top of each other. Okay? And then just start putting or tying stitch markers, let's say about the middle, and just start tying them across the top. Okay? Then I want you to put it on and then kind of pinch under your arm where, like right where your armpit is, where it's comfortable for the way you fit, the way it's fitting you. So mine was 20 rows up from the bottom. I just put a stitch marker in there, and that's where I liked it. So if you guys need to find a different row for your armpit or your arm, go ahead and do that. And that way you guys can find a good row that your sleeve needs to start. All right, let's get that back in there. Okay, so I've got my back panel laying with the right side facing up. Now I'm going to take one of my front panels and I'm going to make it to where the double crochets from this block are facing down. So now the back panel, or I mean this front panel, the back of the double crochets are facing me. So basically the right sides are together. And then we are going to mark the 20th row on our front panel. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now I'm going to go ahead and go through my front and my back panel. Okay, so now that's holding the 20th row of my back and my front. All right, so ouch, what we're going to do now, so we are going to get needle and thread, and we are going to sew all this side up until we get to that stitch marker. So I'm going to get my needle, I'm going to get my my yarn, and we'll be right back. All right, so I've got I'd say about a 3-foot piece of yarn here. I've got that on the yarn needle. 3 foot may have been a little much, but that's all right. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna start at the bottom side of my panel, and then I'm gonna go up to my stitch marker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold those 2 corners here, and we have the chain. We have 2 chains, right, in our corner here. 1 chain we're gonna leave for the bottom of our cardigan, and the other chain we're gonna leave for sewing the side together. So I'm gonna go right into both loops of that second chain on each side. I'm gonna pull that through. Make sure you leave enough tail to weave in our ends. And go a little, about right there. All right. So when I'm holding my 2 squares together, the part at the top of the stitch that's showing is the back loop of each stitch. So the back loop of each stitch is what's facing up, okay? So that's what I'm going to work into. I'm going to work into the back loop of each stitch, blah, 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 all the way across, until the end of this block, just going back and forth. So it's similar to what we did with sewing the block together. And then into the chain. Back loop, back loop, back loop, back loop. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew up the squares. I'm going to meet you where the square ends, okay, when we start the rows we start our double crochet on. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've come to the top of our block, and I should have one more. Nope, I went into that one already. Okay, so all I should have left is the chain from the corner of our block right here. If you guys can't find it, it's not that big of a deal, but it should be right there. If you put your finger into the hole, like right there, one of the chains should have the first row of double crochets in it, and then the other one should be open. Okay, so now all we're going to do is evenly go back and forth sewing this together. Nothing fancy. I'm not, you know, counting stitches or anything like that. I'm just making it nice and neat. Alright, so go ahead and we are going to repeat this all the way to that stitch marker. So we'll be right back. Okay, I'm coming to my stitch marker. Got a few more I can go into. Alright, I'm going to go right in there. Call that done. Now I've got a bunch left, so I'm going to cut this down just a little, and I'm going to weave this in. I'm going to go back through there again, and I'm just going to go under some stitches. Come back. I'm going to go one more time. There we go. I'm going to cut that. Okay. So there is that side. So now if we flip that out, it's a nice pretty seam. So I'm going to go ahead and weave in this tail down here. And what we're going to do on the other side, we're going to repeat the same thing. Mark your 20th row on each side, and sew up the side to your 20th stitch marker, just like we did on this side. So get that done on your other side and come back here, and we are going to move on. And cut. All right. Get your other side sewn on and come back here. Okay, so we've got both of our sides sewn on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go straight across the top of both panels. So I've got myself about 2 foot of yarn here, and I've got that on my needle. So what we're going to do to sew the panel across the top is we're going to go straight into the very first stitch. Very first double on the back. Now I'm not going to go through both loops like that. I'm just going to go through the back loop, come across to the front panel, and the back loop. So that way I have the I'm trying to think of how I can explain this. The loops farthest away from our seam. So not the loops that are set next to each other, but the 2 farthest away. So what's going to happen is once we make it all the way down, it's going to leave this pretty seam across the top. So basically what that is the remaining loop of the top of the doubles pulled together and makes a nice pretty seam along the top. Okay? So I'm going to show you guys a couple more times. So I'm getting the loops that are the farthest away on each side. And by farthest away, what I mean is the farthest away from the seam in the center. So this one and this one, and I'm just going stitch for stitch here, here and here, here and here, here and here. All right, so just repeat this all the way, and I will meet you guys when we get close to the end right there. All right, I've got a few more I need to go into. Here and there. I'm going to go back in there, secure that, and then weave in my ends. Now all you're gonna do is repeat that same process on the other side for the other front panel. And then after that, after you get your other panel done, come back here. So right here, all I'm going to do is just take that right through that same loop again. Run it through there and pull it tight, and it kind of knots it right there. Then after you get your other panel done, come back here, get all your ends weaved in, and we are going to start the sleeves. And then after the sleeves, we're going to do a bottom border, and then a border around the collar, and maybe pockets. We'll see. We'll see how we can get that to fit. Okay, so now I'm going to flip these inside out, and we have that nice pretty seam across the top. Can you see it? Right there. All right, so get your other side sewn on. Cat here, and we are gonna start our sleeves. All right, we'll be right back. Okay guys, so for our sleeve, I'm gonna start by attaching our yarn right into the armpit. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want the seam to stay under my arm. So get a slip knot on your hook. And I'm going to go just right into the armpit. Slip stitch, chain one, and now I'm going to double right back into that gap I went into. Okay? And now I'm going to evenly space out 50 double crochets around this hole. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I need 50 doubles. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like I'm going completely around double crochets too. All right, so just evenly space out 50 double crochets around your armhole. Okay, so I've evenly double crocheted 50 single crochet around, and over my shoulder I didn't even notice. I just went straight across. Nothing, I didn't work anything different across it. Okay, so to end round one, we just slip stitch to our first double. Now I understand that some of you are going to have armholes that are a little smaller than mine or bigger, it doesn't matter. Just make sure your double crochet count around your armhole is even. That's all you got to do. And now we are going to work round 2. We're going to work it for round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds. We're going to repeat round 2. And if you guys need to repeat round 2 more to get your armhole smaller, that's fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and we're going to double crochet decrease into the first doubles, over the first 2 doubles. So the very first double of our round, we work the first half of our decrease into. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. The second part goes into the next. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. 3 loops, pull through all 3. There's our first decrease. Okay, so now what we're going to do is double crochet all the way around, until the last 2 double crochets. So you guys go ahead and double crochet around, and I'll meet you when we come back to the last 2 doubles. Okay, I've double crocheted around to the last 2 double crochet of the round, and now we just double crochet decrease over the last 2, just like we did at the beginning. Pull through all 3. Now slip stitch to our first, which is our first decrease, chain 1, and then we're just going to repeat that again. Now remember, if you're following along with me, that was round 2, so we're going to do it for all the way to round 9. Now, if yours is going to be too tight, then stop decreasing when it's a comfortable fit on your arm, like on your underarm, like around your armpit area. And just stop and hold off until we get caught up with you guys. And if you decide that yours needs to go smaller than what mine is going to be, then just keep repeating that around. 2 double crochet into, a double crochet decrease into the first 2 stitches, which just happens to be the decrease and the next double crochet around to the last 2, double crochet decrease over the last 2 stitches, and just repeat that and repeat that. Alright, so I am gonna get my rows 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 done. Now if you're following with me, at the end of round 9 we should have 34 stitches, 34 stitches around. Alright, so you guys get yours done and come back here and we will finish up our sleeve. Okay, I'm coming to the end of round 9. It's my last decrease. Slip stitch to my first stitch of the round, and that is the end of round 9. So now what we're going to do is for round 10 to 24, we're just going to work a double crochet around. So we chain 1, double crochet right back into that first stitch, double crochet into each. Okay, I will meet you guys at the end of this round. Alright, I'm coming to the end of round 10. One more to work into. Alright, now slip stitch to the very first. And repeat that. So that was round 10. So we're going to repeat that till 24. So 14 rounds. We're just going to work 1 double crochet into each. Chain 1, double right back into your very first, and double crochet around. Alright, so I will meet you guys at the end of round 24. So just double crochet around, slip stitch to your first, chain 1, double crochet around. And for my sleeve, it's 24. If yours is any 34. If your guys' stitch count was any different, it'd be the same through rounds 10 to 24. Alright, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so I just finished round 24 of our sleeve, and round 25, the final round. all we're going to do is work a half double crochet around. So I need to slip stitch to my first, chain 1, and round 25 we half double crochet right back into that very first double, and half double crochet into each double all the way around. And that is the end of round or sleeve. I about said the end of round 25. So obviously you guys are just going to repeat what we just finished, or what we're going to finish, with our sleeve. Now if you need your sleeve to be longer, just keep repeating the rounds of double crochets around. And obviously if it needed to be shorter, just don't work so many rounds of the double crochets. But for your other sleeve, you're going to attach in the armpit, double crochet, get 50 double crochets in your on your sleeve, and then start working your decrease rounds, decreasing over the first 2 and the last 2 stitch, so you have 2 decreases in your rows, and just repeat that and do the exact same thing you did for your sleeve. All right, I've got one left. I'm going to slip stitch to my first, chain 1, pull up a loop, cut, and fasten off. I'm going to weave in that end. So you guys repeat that for the other side for your second sleeve, and then come back here and we are going to start on our collar. Okay, now that we have both of our sleeves on, okay, now lay this out. Bring this up a little bit just to show you. What we're going to do now is we're going to work a little bit of a border all around here, okay? So lay your piece out, and I want to connect on the left lower corner, because what we're going to do is we're going to work around and then come back and then come back, so that the last round is going to be facing to the outside. I know, it'll make sense once we get there. Alright, so this is going to be super easy. Let me get adjusted here. So like I said, I'm going to connect to the lower left corner, and I'm going to go into both of the loops of this chain. Slip stitch, chain 1, and I'm going to go right back in there with a double. Alright, now that you guys know where I am, I'm going to get adjusted so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so I connected to that lower corner. Now I'm going to double crochet into each of the next doubles. I'm going to double into that space, and then each of the next doubles. Alright, so double crochet into each double, and I'm going to meet you guys right over here. Alright, I'm coming up to this space, double into my next double, double crochet right into that space, double crochet into each of the next 3 doubles, 2 and 3. I'm going to go right into that next space. And now we are to the double crochets along the panel. And I'm just going to evenly space out double crochets. I'm not going to count. And that's all I'm going to do, is evenly space out doubles, working all the way up the side. Try to get this back in camera. All the way up this side until we get to the corner of our neck. So I'm going to meet you guys at this is actually the back of our neck. I'm going to meet you guys there. Okay guys, I'm coming to the back of the neck here. All I'm gonna do, honestly, is just double crochet right around it. Let's see. Just as if it was nothing special. If you, oops, sorry, I bumped my camera. Now I'm going to go into my next side panel. And then just continue working, evenly spacing them out down this other side. So what I'm going to do is just double crochet all the way down our other side. I'll meet you guys when we get to our square. Okay? Alright, I will be right back. It's getting big to finagle around. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright, I'm excuse me. I'm to my square. Oh, I actually double crocheted into the square already. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and double into my next. Double into my chain. Into each of the next 3 doubles. Into the space. And then into each of the next doubles. Alright, so go ahead and double into each of your next doubles. Work 1 into your chain, 1 into the next 3. I'm going to meet you right at this bottom corner. Alright, I am to my corner. I worked into my last double, so here's my chain 2 corner. Now this bottom chain 2 I want to keep for when we work the bottom border. So the very last stitch is going to go right into the 2 loops. I'm going to leave my back loop, the 2 loops of that side of the chain. Okay? So then that leaves this loop to go for my bottom. And now for the second round for the collar, we're just going to chain 1, turn, and double crochet into each double. And that's all you're going to do for round 2 of our collar all the way to the other side. Just 1 double into each double. So go ahead and double crochet all the way around, and I will meet you at the other end. Okay guys, I've made it back to the other end. I've got 1 more double that I need to work into right there. And there we go. Chain 1, turn, and we're going to repeat that 1 more time. Double crochet into the very first and into each double all the way around. right. Go ahead and double crochet all the way around your collar one more time, and I will meet you at the other side. All right. Meet you there. Okay guys, I've come back to the other end. One more double crochet to work into. Chain one, pull up a loop, and cut. And that is our collar portion. So now we can get our ends weaved in. And then we will work on a bottom border, which is going to be so much easier because we got all these double crochets to work into. Okay, so get your collar done, come back, or get all your ends weaved in, come back here, and we are going to get started. Oh, I got one up there. And we are going to get started on the bottom border. Okay, so now I've got all my ends weaved in on my collar. Now we're going to start at the bottom border. And for that, we are going to start on the right side bottom of the collar. So I'm going to turn my work just a little. Here's the right side. Now this portion, I'm going to kind of let you guys go off on your own with this, just because it's so similar to everything we've already done with the collar, and it's easier because we've got double crochets to work into. So I'm just going to tell you what we're going to do, okay, instead of going through each row with you. All right, so we're going to attach right around. See, the double crochet right here is actually facing like this, but we're turning it like this. And we're going to go right in there, chain one, and double crochet right back around there. Then we're going to evenly space out three doubles. So the one we did, two more, and then we are going to go right into the chain. Oh, I'm sorry. Nope, there's still another double there. So we're going to evenly space out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. All right, and now we get to our square. Now we're going to work a double into the remaining chain on the bottom here. Oh, come on. I'm just going to go into one. All right, and now all we're going to do is work one double into each double, one double into chain spaces. There's a chain space, one double into each double. We're to our corner. Well, we already know that we left chains on each side, so here's a chain that we can work into. Come right across, work into the next chain, one double into each double, and keep going and going. Here's our next intersection, a double into the chain, come right across, double into the chain, double into each double, all the way around. Work a double into our chain, 5 double crochet, and right there's the end. Chain one, turn, double crochet all the way around. Get to the last stitch, chain one, turn, double crochet all the way back around for a total of 3 rounds on the bottom. So it's pretty much exactly what we just did for the collar. We're just doing it in the bottom, and it just so happens it's a little easier because we got double crochets to work into and chain spaces. So I'm gonna leave all of that up to you guys. I am totally confident you can do it. It's super easy. The only part that you might need help with is the 5 doubles after our chain on the other side, because we just did our 5 doubles on the chain on this side. Okay, so get your your bottom border done, and then we are done with our cardigan. All right, so I'm gonna get off here and I'm gonna get mine done, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm coming to the end of my 3rd round I'm going to double into my last stitch, chain 1, pull up a loop, and snip. Pull that out, and we are done. Done, done, and done. I gotta weave in my ends, but here we go. I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial. I hope your cardigan turns out beautiful. Try to get this laid out nice and neat. All right, there's our collar. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching my tutorials. I really do appreciate it. If you guys could give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys thought. This was fun. I had a lot of fun making this cardigan. In the description box, I got some links for you guys. There's links to my Etsy shop, my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, all kinds of stuff in there for you guys. So check that out, and as always, you guys are the greatest, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!